When a mother and a father welcome a child into the world, their eyes are filled with expectations and hopes and dreams about what their child will become. They begin to see the world differently because their child has entered the scene, and they want to make sure that he or she is ready to take on the challenges that present themselves. And so even as they look at their calendars or their daily work, they're thinking of their child, wondering what they can do to better their chances at happiness and fulfillment. They're vigilant about crossing streets and hot stoves and uncovered outlets because they have in their eyes the destiny of this child whom they love so much. I think this is probably one of the greatest joys, also one of the greatest anxieties of parenting, because you want so much for your child to be happy. You want everything for them. Our gospel begins today by saying that Jesus was resolutely determined to journey to Jerusalem. And that sentence packs a huge punch. Another translation says that Jesus set his face toward Jerusalem. I think it's a wonderful image. He was locked in on Jerusalem because Jerusalem was the place where he would fulfill his mission. But we can be more specific. It was the place where he would suffer and die and rise from the dead for your sins and for mine. And so when we say that Jesus set his face toward Jerusalem, what we're saying is that Jesus was looking at us. When Jesus turned toward Jerusalem, he was turning towards us. He was looking at our brokenness, our frailty, our woundedness. And he set his face toward us to come to us and to save us and to give us the gift of salvation. Like a father or a mother who looks lovingly on their child, the Lord looks this way at us. And everything else that follows in this gospel is a result of that fixation, in the best sense of the word. When we think of the way that Jesus was looking at us and thinking of us, we can better understand why some of this gospel sounds a little rigid and even harsh. But it's that way because Jesus is super intense. He is super intense in his love for us, in his desire to show mercy. And he's intense because of what's at stake. I mean, let's not forget that Jesus left the glories of heaven to bend down over our lowliness and our brokenness, to save us and to lift us back up to the fullness of life. And so, yes, Jesus is a little intense because what he's doing is intense. The work that he is undergoing for our sake is tremendous. The way that he looks at us with mercy is almost awkward because it's so strong. You know, it's like if you're ever in a restaurant and you can feel somebody like staring at you from across, like you're doing right now. This is awkward. No, I'm kidding. But we can feel it when you have that sense of someone kind of looking at you, and every now and then you kind of look over and like, what's his deal? Like, this is the way that Jesus looks at us. Something in us wants to say, what's your deal, Jesus? Like, why are you staring at me so strongly? And we feel sometimes awkward because of our sin. Our sin is what makes it feel awkward. If we were in a good relationship with Jesus, we experience that sense of warmth and tenderness of someone looking at us with love. Knowing that the Lord of heaven and earth is looking at us in this way, with so much hope and such great love for our destiny and so much intensity, how can we not be ready to leave everything behind and follow him? Why is it that we still hold back, knowing that there that still we don't follow him at times. And so it almost feels like a slap in the face when Jesus says that birds have nests and foxes have dens, but the one through whom everything was made has nowhere to rest his head in his creation. You know, I think sometimes we pay more attention to our pets than we do to Jesus. If Jesus were speaking to us today in a parable, I think Jesus would say, you have time to walk your dog and watch your cat knock stuff off the cabinet, but you don't have time to be in conversation with me. That's the modern interpretation of Jesus' words. Because it's true. We have time for a number of other things, but when it comes to Christ, so often we say, I don't have time. I'm too busy. I have too much to get done. When Jesus says, let the dead bury their dead and leave your family behind, he's saying these things because he knows what is necessary for us to receive the joy of knowing him, to receive the inheritance that he desires to give to us. We sang it so wonderfully in that psalm today. You are my inheritance, O Lord. And let's not let the beautiful way that we sing it take away from the power of these words. My heart is glad and my soul rejoices. My body too abides in confidence because you will not abandon me to the netherworld. You won't let me go there. You won't abandon me. You won't let me slide into hell. You won't let me be forgotten. You will show me the path to life, fullness of joys in your presence. This is the inheritance that Jesus has received from the Father and now is passing on to us. And so when Jesus sets his face to Jerusalem, this is what he sees. He sees us embracing him, receiving him, welcoming him, and then being lifted up into the joys of eternity. This is what Jesus wants to accomplish. That all of humanity could experience this exaltation in the glory of heaven. This is the invitation that is extended to us every day, every moment of every day. This is the invitation that is set before us. Will we go? Will we go, or will we keep distracting ourselves with other things? Things, let's be honest, we know are not as important as our eternal salvation. Things we know can't bring us fulfillment and happiness and joy. We know they can't do it. We know that anger and lust and envy and gossip don't bring any of the things that Jesus promises us. And yet so often we keep going back to the dumpster to feed on something that cannot satisfy. And so again and again and again and again, Jesus sets his face towards us and says to us over and over again, will you follow me? Will you come after me? Friends, there is nothing in this world greater than what Christ offers to us. Nothing. Let's not abandon him, because he certainly does not abandon us.